Greetings viewers, Eric the Car Guy. Today I'm going to be installing roof rails on a 4th generation Honda Odyssey, and that's 2011 through 2017. So if you've got a 2011 through 2017 Honda Odyssey and you want to install roof rails, this is your video. I got these roof rails, I'll put a link in the description for you. These are Honda roof rails. So these are original equipment roof rails that can be installed at the dealer. And I recommend Honda parts for this kind of thing because my experience with aftermarket body parts, it can be dicey. So if you can't get original equipment stuff, I strongly recommend it. This video covers the installation of original equipment Honda roof rails. These roof rails do not come with instructions. I'll put a link in the description to a PDF that has the exact instructions I have in my hand, which I'll be following in this video. Does anyone know where I can find a qualified technician to do this? Tools you will need: a T15, a T30, and stuff to drive it with. I have a 1/4 inch and a 3/8 drive here. A tape measure. Now this particular tape measure also measures in metric. Yay! And I got this one specifically because a lot of the measurements are listed as metric measurements. You need some sort of plastic trim tool, a file, a pair of needle nose pliers, masking tape, felt tip pen. Now I have a black one here, but since we're working with black components, it might be a good idea to have a silver one handy. Safety glasses. They recommend using a reciprocating saw like this to do the cutting with. I've also seen it done with a cutoff wheel like this, and if you have the gumption and a lot of caffeine, you could probably do it with a hacksaw. Job one is going to be to remove the roof molding located here, and it extends the entire length of the vehicle all the way to the back. Take your plastic trim tool, insert it underneath, and pry upwards. Pry straight up is what you're looking to do. There we go. And just keep working your way back along the mounting points. There you go. Here's a close-up of where the clips are attached on the van to give you an idea of where you're going to need to pry up. If there are any clips remaining on the van, you can remove them now. And it's okay if they break. Next, we need to remove this plastic piece back here. To do that, lift up on the tailgate a little bit, like part way. You can use a trim tool to pry up on this, but if you just pull back on it like this, it should pop loose back here. That's what I needed. Now the key here was having the lift gate like part way up so that I could get in here and there's room for the piece of plastic to come out. Don't try to pull up in the front, you might break it. There you go. According to the instructions, I should have removed the back plastic piece before I removed the molding. As you can see, it kind of doesn't matter, just be careful and don't break anything. Well, except for the clips, because you know they're going to break anyway. With the molding removed, there may be a little bit of sealer, as you can see in here, around these studs. This is what the roof rail, I should say, is actually going to attach to. The instructions say to remove some of this because if this is underneath where it fastens down, it can sort of, it can cause it to sit weird. So do your best to like just clean up some of this junk just around where these studs are sticking up. I'm going to add flathead screwdriver to the list of tools. Actually, you kind of didn't need to do the one all the way up the front because nothing's going to get mounted there, but these other ones going back do need this treatment. Now that I've cleaned around the studs, I'm going to go through with some compressed air, clean out all the debris and everything that's in that channel. There's some stuff that might be in these tracks on the molding. I'm also going to hit that with a little bit of compressed air. So this measurement from the front edge back to here is 21.9 inches or 556 millimeters. As you may see, I have mounted this molding in my vise. It's a lot easier to work with like this than it is any other way on a flat surface because, well, it's not flat. First measurement, 556 millimeters, which should be locked down. Should be, there's 500 there, 50, and then just past this is our 6. So that one's our first mark. From there to the next one, it's 150 millimeters. That's the thing about these. Like, if you get one measurement off, they're all off. So maybe the thing to do here is to make all your measurements, maybe go lay it up on the roof just to see if it corresponds with those studs sticking up, and if it does, you're good. If it's way off or you question it, maybe you should go back and check your measurements. From here to here, we got 150 right about there. From there to the next one, it's 850 millimeters or 33.5 inches. 850 is right there. Next one is 95 millimeters from there. It's lock! And the last one is 518 from here. So that would be right about here. Now it's time to commit. So I have the air saw that's recommended. I'm also wearing safety glasses if you didn't catch that before, as they very explicitly instruct to do in the instructions. Try to cut straight, but it's under stuff, so don't worry too much. Ready? Go! Moving to the next cut. And if you're doing this with a hacksaw, I really feel for you, but the closer you are to the vise, the less it's going to want to move around, so it'll keep it more secure if it's closer to the vise. I should have mentioned before, if the plastic clips are in the molding, to remove them. Considering I've already made my cuts, I'm just going to slide this off through the end here. So here's that rear trim piece we took off when we opened the rear hatch. And if you'll notice, very faintly, there's a scribe line in the plastic. That's where we need to make our next cut. The ends that you just cut may be a little slaggy, hence the reason they recommended you have a file in the tool list. You can come in and trim down some of the goo that will inevitably be there. Same with these. There may be a few edges that need attention. A few hits with a file should get rid of any unwanted burrs or slag. You're not really going for pretty so much as function. You don't want a piece to be rolled over underneath here because these ends are actually going to be covered up by the roof rail, as you saw earlier. Included in the kit are 2 new clips that you'll need. Now take one of those new clips from the kit, pop it in towards the front like that. Where the hole is, line it up with the front or either stud actually. Get it pushed down in there, and then you can slide it forward like that. This middle piece will just lay into place between the two like that. Then the final piece comes in behind that, just like that. Now we're going to install our modified rear piece. You just sort of work it back and forth until it falls into place, or I should say up and down. There we are. Now that's in there. Hooks in the back and push forward. So hook it in and push it forward. And if it's not sitting flush, you haven't got it clipped in there right. It needs to be sitting flush like it is here. When you're done, it should look something like this. With everything cut, trimmed, and in place, you can then, when you install this, make sure that you get these down onto the studs. I think it's fairly obvious because that's how it's going to get fastened down. So make sure you line up the studs. You should probably add something that you can stand on in the tool list so that you can get up above the work that you're doing. It's nice to see down into it rather than trying to work below it. Next, you want to fasten the roof rail to the roof using the provided nuts in the kit, which are T30s. And I'm just gonna make sure you're down on the studs. Just get them started before I start running anything down. I'm going to start to fasten things down in the middle just because I like to do it that way, in the middle and then do the ends. These get tightened to 10 Newton meters or 7.3 foot-pounds. Here's the plastic trim pieces that you'll need to cover up the remaining areas. Here's the center one, here's the rear, and here's the front. There is a left and a right, and unless I miss my mark, these may actually be marked left and right, but it should be fairly obvious where they go. I don't see any markings. Starting in the front, this tab that's on the rear of the plastic piece needs to fit into this area. Once it is, it kind of wants to go home because these other clips go into here. So they'll sort of be self-guiding in a way. So once you feel it start to go in, push it down, clip it into place. So for the front and rear pieces, there's also a screw that holds them on, and that is the, I believe it was a T15. Yes, T15. These don't require a lot of torque either, but try not to damage the paint with your tools. Same thing in the rear. Slide the tab into place. You'll start to feel it wanting to go home. Send it home. And this one also has a screw that needs to be inserted in the rear here. Also the T15. The instructions state to mask off this area before putting on the centerpiece. This is so you don't harm the paint. So the reason they tell you this is because this one's tricky. You see this little hook up on this side here? That's what goes in first. You're gonna hook around the back and then push this in. In, around, try to keep working it forward. The tape, if you just wanted to do one part, really back here is where it's going to suffer the most, because that's where you're pushing in and pushing forward, and that's where you have the most potential to damage the finish. I'm not going to cover the other side installation in detail. You pretty much get the idea with this side. You just flip everything around for the other side. There we have step-by-step instructions on installing roof rails on a 4th generation Honda Odyssey that's 2011 through 2017. To be honest, it's similar on all the Odysseys that I've come across for installing roof rails like this on Hondas. Highly recommend the original equipment parts. Aftermarket parts, I don't believe, go together this easily. That said, I will post links in the description to the instructions, which, by the way, I don't consider this to be, all that difficult a task to do. It's measure twice, cut once, that kind of thing. So ignore that warning in the instructions at the beginning. They will be linked in the description along with links to tools, additional information. I also plan on doing other videos on installing crossbars and also a cargo carrier on top. I'll put links to those videos when they become available. Aside from that, if you have automotive questions not covered in this video, I ask that you head to EricTheCarGuy.com, also linked in the description. Please don't forget to like, comment, subscribe, do all those things that help me make a living, and be sure to ring the bell to be notified when I post new videos. Be safe, have fun, stay dirty. Thank you so much for watching. I'll see you next time. Excuse me.
Whoa.
Oh my gosh, sorry. Oh, sorry. Okay, take the roof rail, set it on top like this. Done. Bad cameraman. Bad cameraman. So you were rolling for that? That's really good, because I don't want to have to do that again.